Well, the Xanax, when it wore off, my brain instantly went to, okay, did I get raped? Instantly, my brain was like, did I get raped by some crazy backwoods biker gang? Because that's instantly, it's just like I just felt defiled, right? Like I felt like I was, like all of my security had been ripped away.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, karma, right? You think about karma in general and the idea of it. I had ripped the security away from 2 families. In my active addiction. So at the time I was still thinking selfishly, like, you know, my whole existence is, basically I'm a naked SOB that might've just been raped, got hit over the head with a piece of firewood, ran through the woods, jumped into a substation, got an arc flash on me and should have died. And I'm in the hospital for 45 days at this point.
Golly.
Whoa. We are back, fresh episode, Get a Grip podcast. We have a special guest with us, Ben Sheets, local to Columbus, but you're not living here now, correct? You're down in Portsmouth, Ohio?
Correct.
Right on.
Right. Yep.
And we went to high school together, another Grandview
Yeah, another
boy.
Grandview guy.
All
right.
And the thing with that is, like, when we do these interviews, let's remember that Grandview is a very affluent, nice community where people don't struggle generally. So
Right.
keep that in mind. Bear that in mind as we go through this story. We always start out with your childhood, you know, to get some context on how you're raised. So let's start there. Let's start.
Okay. Grateful for having me. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
showing up.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Lewis was on my old golf team. Love him to death.
And what, high school?
Yeah. Yeah, we played golf together.
So many
That's right.
questions already.
But yeah, I was raised in a really, really good family. I was raised by 2 scientists that really didn't. My morals and ethics should have been straight-laced all the way, very perfect, right?
Yeah.
And like, I had everything I needed. I didn't want for anything. If there was anything that I, asked for, I would usually get it. I was, although I was taught to work hard, I still, it was still,
Cutting corners.
yeah, I think there was always just this curiosity of the world and people around me that just kind of led me to doing things that I shouldn't be doing. But my parents had nothing to do with that. I think it was just, me being curious. But yeah, overall, I shouldn't. I feel like looking back at my childhood, I shouldn't have turned out what I turned out to be, which was a thief. I did. It was kind of as simple as that. I was just a really bad thief because I needed drugs.
Yeah.
It was kind of that simple.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
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 Tell us about middle school and moving into high school. How was that experience for you? Anything touchy there growing up?
No. There was.
You were popular.
Maybe.
mean,
Was I?
Yeah, I thought so. We were. Yeah.
I don't know. I think sports was always a thing that I was into, and I think I excelled in some sports. I mean, we were in a small school, so I think it's kind of that.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to excel.
It wasn't hard to excel.
Not a very deep talent pool.
Right. Like we're Division III, and we're but I always had these, like, I guess I always strive to be like this really good person at sports, and you know how kids have dreams of becoming professional athletes, and how kids have dreams of going to school and getting scholarships and stuff like that. And I had those dreams, but I think that it was kind of a far reach coming from Grandview. You have to be really, really good and above your competition.
There's like one Luke Lachey is
Yeah.
he got drafted, right? Did he get drafted?
So
or
I
did he
think
get,
I did just hear that, and yeah,
like the only Grandview kid I've ever heard of that made it to the fucking league.
yeah, which is pretty awesome.
Crazy.
Pretty awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I don't know if popularity had anything to do with that. I think I was just an attention seeker. I was just like the class clown that wanted to. It was just everyone look at me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that there was probably a void, some psychological void, and
Yes,
like
the void.
so there was something there. You know what I mean? There was something. There was a reason for it, and I don't know why. I think as I go through Narcotics Anonymous and I go through recovery in general, I'm learning that that's, you know, those are some of the things that are unfolding in my life. So.
Yeah. When was your first drink or drug in high school? Like, do you remember it?
So my first drink was at my aunt's wedding. I went around all the tables to the half drank wine, and I started drinking the wine, and it was on my own accord. I just went, and there was no one said go drink this wine. I just did.
Well, I doubt anybody would be like,
Right.
Hey,
yeah.
go
Hey,
finish this
hey,
off.
12-year-old.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, go.
You're 12.
Yeah. Oh, probably 11
Damn.
or 12. I was very young. And I danced like a madman, I remember. And the more I drank, the better I danced.
So you thought.
So I no. Well,
Oh,
so I thought.
Are you a dancer?
No, I'm not a dancer.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not a dancer. So I'm not a dancer, clean or using.
Fair enough.
But when I'm 11 drinking booze, I'm a dancer.
Yeah. Okay.
And so yeah, that was probably the first time. And then there was a big gap. I didn't just like keep drinking. I think it was probably 14 or 15. Me and an old friend of ours, I'm not going to drop any names. But I smoked weed for the first time, probably 15, 16. And my brother was 3 years older. So keep that in mind. I think that has a lot to do with, the, you know, I think maybe not using drugs at a young age, but smoking weed and kind of dipping my toes in the water. You know what I mean? So like, when I was 15, he was drinking with his friends, you know, and I was kind of tight with some of his friends. So I also drank and also, you know, smoked and stuff like that. I didn't really get into anything hard until probably 17 or 18.
Do you remember like drinking and smoking? Do you remember it like alleviating the symptoms of? Because I mean, you know, alcoholism, right? That's the solution.
Right.
Is the drugs and the alcohol. Do you remember how that felt and how that made you feel?
Not normal, which was better than life, right? So life. I don't know if you've ever seen that James Bond movie, The World Is Not Enough.
I've not.
Fuck.
I have not.
But
He's normally the movie guy.
but there's a famous James Bond movie. It's The World Is Not Enough, and that's kind of where I think when I was late in high school, it just Grandview, Columbus. I had explored so many different places that it wasn't enough. So that's when I started internally kind of searching for something to fill that void of, you know, this space isn't big enough for me. So I started drinking, started smoking, occasionally I feel like I did Vicodin maybe at a young age, maybe like 16 or 17 from a tooth thing and just abused the crap out of it. You know what I mean? But there was one, I think Suboxone when I was 17 or 18.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
That was my first true opiate. It was on
the
Christmas
pill or the
Eve.
strip?
It must have been it was the pill,
The
right?
pill, right?
It was a whole pill. It was my
Yeah.
very first thing.
You took the whole thing.
Took the whole thing very
God.
very first.
Oh
Brother.
my god.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. On
You had to
Christmas
have been
Eve.
floored.
On Christmas Eve, I was throwing up.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it from my parents. It was rough.
What do
that
you
was
tell
my
them? Like, obviously, you're gone.
that I was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you got.
Yeah, that's all I got. That I'm sick. You know.
Because it lasts a really long time.
Yes.
And it's really strong, especially if it was your first time.
Yep. So yeah, it just, nothing was enough, right? So it just, I couldn't, nothing was enough. I felt like that I should be more successful. I felt like I should be, I felt like I should have more, be seen more. It was still that attention seeking, like, you know, my life should be more than what it is. So do drugs, and, you know, I can trick my brain into believing that.
Right.
And so yeah, that's kind of it. And so after high school, I moved to Arizona State. So there's another thing, you know.
Did you go to college at Arizona State?
Yep, I went to college for
Wow.
I think 1 full year.
Why'd you go all the way out there? Why not something closer?
Because, man, James
like-
Bond.
Big city.
The world was not enough, right? Granby wasn't enough. Columbus wasn't enough. Ohio State wasn't enough. My mom worked at Ohio State, so I knew the campus very well.
Arizona State's a good school.
Yeah, it was a party
Yeah.
school too.
Really?
Yeah, big time party school.
Did you know that when you applied
yeah.
there?
Yes. Yep. I kind of, I feel like I dug my heels in when I was 17 or 18 in the whole drug scene. And was like, okay, where's the place that I can use my grandparents' money to go have the most fun? And that was my choice. And I have family out there as well. So there was kind of a double, double whammy. Like,
Yeah.
I'll have some comfort somewhere.
Win-win, yeah.
You know, if
Or
somewhere,
if the shit
somewhere,
hits the fan or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, and
So you're not, you don't have an opiate habit at this point. You don't,
No.
you're really just kind of partying normally, so to speak.
you mean back then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, yeah, I was I got an Adderall prescription.
Okay.
And it was because I was ADD, right? And because I needed to finish my homework.
Right.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And that just wasn't the case. The Adderall prescription was gone in 3 or 4 days. You know, so
Oh, that's rough.
yeah.
God, that's rough.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Arizona State was it's kind of a blur now, because that was, well, I'm 33, so that was 13 years ago,
Yeah.
14 years ago. But I just did a ton of party drugs. Just a stupid amount of party drugs.
And when you say party drugs, what do you mean?
Molly, ecstasy, cocaine, obviously a lot of Adderall.
Yeah.
Alcohol. I remember blowing a .283.
Damn.
Yeah, I got caught.
God
I got caught.
damn.
I got an underage drinking, and I blew a .283. And I was talking to him like I'm talking to you now. So like, and he was like, "Dude, this is
It's almost,
this is a
that's
problem."
almost 4 times the legal limit.
Yeah. So he was alarmed.
He was
Sure he-
alarmed.
sure
yeah,
he
I'm sure he was.
he was
He
alarmed.
was alarmed. You ever
yeah.
go to school in this time? Like, are you doing?
So yeah,
trying
I was trying to attend class. I mean, like, I was attending enough to stay like academically above board, like getting D's and C's, you know.
Right.
But I knew that that it was a means to an end. You know, I was enrolled to
Like
party.
deep down, you knew this isn't going to work out type deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I made a conscious decision. I think I had made a conscious decision that school is not like I'm enrolled here to party, and that after a year I will go back home, you know, and then just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, just like.
That's how I always felt, dude. Because there was always so much pressure and the expectations of like growing up in a nice neighborhood and like, oh, I got to go to college, I got to get a degree, I got to get a family and a house and I didn't know how the fuck I was gonna do that. I had no idea. I was just following in people's footsteps or like doing the shit that I thought I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I can relate completely.
What did you pick as your major out there? Like, what was your?
So I was accepted as a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
And then I switched my major halfway through because I didn't meet the requirements in that first semester. Because I was attending class, but I wasn't doing my homework, and I was smart enough for it. But I just didn't apply myself at all. So I think I switched it to like some type of visual media or something art related that like the requirements were very minimum, like lowest number of credit hours. You know, I strategically did that.
Probably easier classes.
Yeah, easier classes, more fun classes. But yeah, so
School was getting in the way of partying.
yes, yeah, it was. Yeah, and what's interesting is I never sold drugs. I like in my entire using, I feel like I middlemaned, but I never sold drugs ever. I never had that aspiration to make money doing the thing that I loved, which was to use drugs, you know? But I felt like maybe it was my ego saying that I was too good to sell drugs. I can work and I can, like, I'm not going to be a drug dealer. I'm just going to use the shit out of drugs. And I think, yeah, there's something to be said there too, because I knew enough people. Like if I got I was never the dude, you know, I was never that dude. I might've been the dude that knew the dude,
Right.
but I was never that dude. And I feel like I'm grateful because I probably would be in prison if I was that dude, you know, I got close enough to prison as it is. So yeah, that was my, I guess, Arizona State thing. And then I ran home.
Back to comfort.
Your mom
Yeah.
and dad like bummed out that you didn't make it in college.
Yeah, but I was a really good liar. You know what I mean? So like, so I think I just kind of coaxed them into believing that I was, you know, just going to go to school in Columbus and everything will be okay, you know? So
What happened when you got home? Like, what was your actual plan?
So my actual plan, I think I was like a puppy dog with my tail between my legs at that point. And Columbus State was an easy choice to kind of put them at bay and be like, okay, I'm going to go to Columbus State. I'm going to get my degree still. Like, y'all can chill, you know.
Get your parents off your back.
Right.
Get your people off your back.
And, yeah, so I think that was what I did to kind of put them at bay. And then after that, I just lived in their basement and just continued to use drugs. There were so many people in Grandview, as you know, that had mommy and daddy money.
Fuck yeah, they did.
And they wanted to spend it. And
Fuck yeah, they did.
And I was one of those people, but my mom and dad didn't really give me money. I worked for my money, and then I ended up stealing. So like, and I just ended up betraying trust of people that, like, it's just that you just don't betray trust.
People you're close to.
People I'm close to, and also people that are really good people.
Right.
That's the worst part about it, is that they make a living helping people, right? They make a living, and those are the people that I stole from. And it's almost like stealing from the vulnerable, even though they're not children and they're not, like, they're mentally capable.
Yeah.
But they still, like, it's still the vulnerable because they are very trusting
and nice
and
friendly,
kind
and
and very good people. I wouldn't call them naive. I would just call them they're just really good people, and they saw the goodness in me, and I was just a good liar. So, yeah. And that's when that whole train started, was when I got back from Arizona State.
So what caused you to steal? Like, I know you're partying, right? But clearly there had to be some sort of dependence at some point that came along. Did you... I thought you got into opiates.
So I did.
Okay.
I did. And again, I'm not going to drop names, but the dependence didn't happen until I started using with one of my close friends, still to this day. and he and I just started using a lot of, I think we got a couple scripts of Vicodin to begin with, to start with. And then we started just slamming 30s back, dude. 30s were huge.
Yeah.
Oxycodone 30s, they weren't as expensive then. They were like maybe, I think they were $20. Very first time I ever bought one, I think they were $20 a pop, which is a pretty manageable, like, if you're working, one of those when I was early in recovery, early in use. Yeah. When I was early in use, $20 was manageable.
Sure.
And one of those would get me through the day.
Yeah.
And this was probably 2011 or 12.
Sounds about right.
So that's, he and I were doing a lot. We were, it was at least one a day, maybe two a day if I was lucky. But I was working through this, and I hadn't started stealing really much.
What was that experience like?
Maybe changed from my parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, little things,
little stuff.
What was the experience like using a 30 for the first time? Like how did that make you feel?
Like I was part of the couch. Like a
warm blanket.
Yeah, I was just part of the couch, and video games were more fun.
Nothing mattered.
Yeah, there was no troubles of life. I didn't have to worry about succeeding. I didn't have to worry about pleasing anyone. The conundrum is that selfishly, I only cared about pleasing myself. Right? That was it.
It's normal for us.
Yeah, my brain was the most important brain, and there was no one else that I was worried about. And 30s basically just fortified that.
Yeah.
It was just, stamp it in stone that this Percocet 30 is going to get me through the day. Me.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of what
led you to the thievery.
Well,
I would never have ever guessed that you would be a thief. Like that would have been what you picked.
Well, and see, like I never broke and entered. Like I never but I was slick. So like, I was just a fucking snake, dude. Pardon my language, everyone, but I was a fucking snake.
Yeah. Well, so was I. And
yeah, man.
So was he. I mean,
right.
Dirtball.
Like,
I'd get people's trust. There was two families specifically that I stole the most from. And one of them is very, very well to do. They help people for a living, and they make a lot of money doing it. And I basically rummaged through their shit, found the most valuable stuff. I had gained their trust.
So you're in their house.
Yeah, but
you're like welcome.
But I was welcome there because I was house sitting their dog. I was getting paid by them
to house sit
their dog and to steal from them
and to fucking hit the licks.
Right. So I wasn't breaking and entering anywhere.
And are you just starting with like little things that you hope they don't notice?
Oh yeah,
and
jewelry,
then you just get
little
ballsier as
little
you go
stuff,
on?
little stuff here and there, cash that was just laying around. But yeah, and it just grew out of control. And I was dating a girl at the time that was also very, very close with them, and we both got caught doing it.
By the family?
Mm-hmm.
Was she?
It took about a year.
Damn.
It took about a year. But we were
before they caught on.
Just about.
Damn.
I think she probably caught on way before that, but didn't want it to be us. There was other people that she would have at the house, and we were actually strategic in we would steal the most when she would have a contractor there, or if she had someone else working on her house or something.
Really smart,
right? So like, but that's what a smart drug addict does.
I mean, that's slick. That's brilliant.
Well, it's not to a drug addict.
Well, but
it's just that's how it was kind of opportunistic, to be honest.
Right.
There's a contractor there. It wasn't brilliant. It was opportunism.
Okay.
We didn't wait for the contractor to get there. The contractor got there, and we were like, "Oh, perfect.
Cool.
The lights on.
Now's the
right?
chance.
Now we can take that really big thing that we thought.
But to connect that dot though is still, I mean, because
Yeah.
I mean we are addicts. They talk about it. We are above average earners and we are fucking manipulators.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Are you trying to convince them too that it might, or gaslight them into thinking like it probably was the contractor? Like I saw him snooping around. You know what I mean? Like you ever help build the case against the contractor?
So no. No. I wasn't close enough with her. So really, I think she knew that I was kind of down and out and like not going to school, and she was again trying to help a person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And really the mode of communication between her was with my ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
Because that was the whole connection to becoming a house sitter anyway.
Okay.
I became a house sitter for them, not to steal from them. It was to make money,
Make the money.
while I was jobless and schoolless and, living like a piece of shit.
Fucked up. Yeah.
And I think I was using drugs at the time, but I wasn't, but I really didn't want to harm these people. It was still like, there wasn't a preconceived like, ooh, there's going to be money there. It was just like, no, these are good people and I can probably make a decent amount of money, doing very little.
Right.
Which is a drug addict's ideal job.
Yeah.
I can sit on this person's couch, wait for a check, and then get my drugs.
And are they gone enough to like?
Yeah, so they're doctors and stuff.
Okay.
So they are
Gone a lot.
They're gone a lot, like good doctors, really good doctors. So, not like
Damn. So they had bread for real, like for real.
well.
They did.
I'm sure. I don't know
Yeah, I
exactly.
mean,
I don't know
have to
exactly.
imagine.
I don't know exactly how much, but nor is it my issue. But
Well,
my issue was opening up a drawer to see if there was cash in it in
Yeah.
the drawer, right? But yeah, the gift cards, cash, jewelry, foreign currency.
Really?
What do
Yeah.
you do with that? Take it to the airport and cash it
That's
in?
right.
Is that what you would do?
That's what I'd do.
Really?
That's correct. Yep.
Wow, bud.
I'd never done that.
I thought about that. I've had the opportunity, but I was like, that's too much work for me.
It
down
was.
to the
It
air-
wasn't.
yeah, go down to
It
the
wouldn't have
airport.
been if you had $1,000 in.
I mean, that's very true.
Euros,
That's a
yeah.
heck
right.
of a
You have
motivator.
$1,000 in euros. And
Damn, they had a G bar in euros just sitting around.
Oh, easy.
God
rainy
damn.
day fun. You ever steal anything stupid where you're like, there's no way they're not gonna notice if I take this, but then you take it anyway.
I reached that point.
Yeah.
So we reached that point. My ex and I reached that point where it became so much more about the drugs than it did about their stuff, and it became so much more about us than it did about their dog, or their
Poor dog.
or
yeah, the dog never mattered to fucking begin with.
like yeah,
like-
it got to that point. At first, the dog did, right?
what was your job?
Yeah, it was we still walked the dog, and we still
Sure,
performed
sure.
our duties, even hired than crap, right?
Well, it's
but
not
it
that
was
hard, yeah.
it's not that hard when you're happy on 30s,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's kind of what happened. Is we got led into this. It was total selfishness, and it was all about how do we get to the pawn shop with something of value. So that we can get 30s. And if we know that there's something of value that we can get to the pawn shop, how are we going to line up the dealer, and how are we going to get there, and where are we going to meet him, and where, or her. And, and that's kind of the life we lived for about a year before I knew that I was going to get caught. There was a time when it was like, okay, it's time for me to like
It will happen. The
That's
timer has started.
Blatantly
So-
obvious.
right. And so I think kind of in this selfish kind of in this selfish way, I wrote a letter to her basically acknowledging that I was a piece of shit and that I stole from her. And I dropped the letter off on her porch, and I knew that things were like about to explode. And I felt like I getting in front of it would help when really it probably was the wrong thing to do. But
I would have thought the same thing.
But like the drug addict brain is like, I know that consequences are on the horizon, so I'm going to try to minimize these consequences.
Yeah.
But it was really still rooted in selfishness.
Yeah, because like if I give her the note, it looks like I'm like.
It looks like I
have a
care still.
conscience,
Yeah.
When I really didn't have the conscience.
It's like
I was
reaching out
just
for
trying
help.
to. I was just trying to.
Lessen the blow.
Yeah.
What was the smoking gun? Like, did she come to you and say, "Hey, I noticed this shit's missing"?
I think it went through my ex's mom.
Okay. That's
So
even worse, right?
so they were best friend. Pardon me. They were or are best friends. I don't know, and that's how we got the gig in the first place. That's how we started watching their dog. Was that my ex's mom was best friends with her. My ex got the job, and then she trusted me through the grapevine of Grandview, UA,
Sure.
schmutz.
I would have trusted you.
Oh, a lot of people
100%,
did. Yeah. Well, I should say 2 people specifically did, and then I just.
What's the other situation look like?
The other situation's right across the street.
From the dog sitting house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Right. Well, no, not from the dog sitting
Oh,
house.
okay.
From
Like
my
your
home.
house.
Oh, for your
Yeah.
own home.
From my
okay.
home. Yeah. And this is where I've got to strap in. Because for real,
Perfect.
this is the rough stuff. And this is something that I'll have to live with the rest of my life, and it's part of. It's a catch-22 because without me harming this family like I did financially, I feel like my roots in recovery wouldn't be as strong, if that makes sense. So what's done is done, and all I did was steal from them, but it's not about the theft as it is about the scenario as to how the theft happened. They have a kid who has Down syndrome, and I was watching him specifically, and basically I had to go through the state and become board certified to watch someone.
Are you like a home health?
Not home health. So it was through this place called Best Buddies, and it's a very, very serious, world-renowned organization that is designed to help people with Down syndrome who are on that edge of teen to adult.
How in the fuck did you?
Yeah, how do you stumble on that?
How the
bud?
fuck
Well,
did you end
they're
up?
my neighbor.
Well, right, but
I was friends with them.
Didn't you have to get like licensed or something, or like?
So yeah, and I did.
Were you using at the time?
Oh yeah, but I wasn't drug tested.
Was this like premeditated? Like I'm gonna get this license and then I'm gonna go do this.
Oh,
and-
absolutely not. No, I love that boy
okay,
till the day
okay,
that I die.
okay.
No. There's
I just
definitely-
didn't know how deep it ran.
No,
I didn't know if you were like
no.
really.
I'm not that sick.
Okay.
But
Well, that's nice to know.
I'm sick, but I will love that boy till the day I die.
So
And
they approach you and say, "Hey," or
yeah, they approached me. Hey, they used it as an opportunity. They knew I didn't have a job,
And they're helping you out.
And their help, it's one hand feeds the other, and it was this cyclical kind of But again, a family that was trying to help me help their kid who has disabilities.
yeah,
But no, not in my worst nightmare would I ever
I was gonna say because that would
consciously
be wild.
do that. It was again an opportunistic thing.
Okay.
So like, although I was using it, was still one of those things where it's like, I'm gonna get paid a pretty good amount to do this
And then how many are you doing this like every day, a couple hours
every
a
day, every day, just about.
Damn.
Okay.
And what's interesting is I got basically per diem, which was
Damn,
I
okay.
could take him to Wyandotte Lake, or I could take him to,
Oh, bro.
and where the real conscious thing now that I'm clean is the shitty thing about it was like, yes, there was times when I would drive a vehicle under the influence of oxycodone, right? Which is obviously not okay.
Right.
When you've got someone with disabilities in your vehicle.
I mean, it's illegal in general.
It's illegal in general,
Yeah.
but it adds insult to injury
Yeah.
when that's the case. but there's another thing that, you know, I have to live with, you know, and that's step work stuff for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to the love of the kid, and it came to the love of their family and what they were doing and their, basically what they were trying to do for not only their own kid that had Down syndrome, but for other people, because she's like up at the top of this Best Buddies thing. She's like for Ohio.
Really?
For Ohio, yeah.
Really?
And that's how I was introduced to it. And
Okay.
So I believe in their mission like crazy. I was just a drug addict. You know what I mean? I still love the crap out of him every moment that I was with him. I never took him with me to. There was times I think I left him at home maybe for an hour or something and went and got drugs, but I never took him with me to go get drugs. There was a boundary there. There's where the boundary.
Good for you.
I
mean, well, it's hard to do.
But still, there's your catch-22. You leave somebody with disabilities at home alone.
Right. Yeah.
So that you know what I mean?
Had the kid ever been home alone prior? Like,
oh yeah.
So
and
okay,
it was
like,
okay. He was old enough that he could have been okay at home, but still, under the circumstances, he shouldn't have been. The only times that he should have been left at home alone is if I was going across the street to like do something for me personally, not drug related. Right. Or if I needed to run an errand without him
you're
or
paid
something
to do a job.
And you're right. So that's kind of that was, yeah. But as far as the love for the kid, it was always there, and it still is. Yeah. So,
when's the first thievery happens? Like immediately, or you try to like hold off for a couple days before you...
So with them, it was checks.
Really quick, do you know you're dependent on oxycodone at this point? Like,
Yes.
are you know you're going through withdrawals if you don't have it?
Yep.
You know you need the money.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew I was addicted to drugs.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%.
Now
so
you're in deep. You're in deep.
That being said, just because I knew I was addicted to drugs didn't prevent me from stealing from him. You know what I mean?
Well, no.
I think the big snag was I've got this kid who has Down syndrome, and when I say kid, he's 17.
Okay.
So he's on the edge but he's still going to be a kid when he's 35.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you got to be morally and ethically, it was a gray area that I shouldn't have been involved at all.
And that's what I say. It's got to be hard doing that anyway, like regardless, drugs or not, because they have special needs and
Yeah.
yeah, that had to have been rough just doing the job.
Yep. So believe it or not, the job itself was super easy. He is such a good person, just 100% genuine love of all things, right? That the job was very easy. And what was the moral and ethical part is that you talk about manipulation and how people manipulate each other out in the real world. It's like, if I wanted to manipulate him, I could have in any way. And how I manipulated him was leaving him at home to go cop drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
It was basically leaving him alone, and even consciously knowing that he'd get sad that I wasn't there. You know what I mean? Because he just wanted someone to be around.
Sure. What are you getting paid to do this, by the way?
Like $15 or $16 an hour.
Okay.
Nothing crazy.
And is it full-time gig or just like part-time?
I think it
4
was.
hours a day?
I think it was full time.
Damn.
I think it was close to 40.
Close
to 40, maybe 30.
Damn.
But you have to remember, I also there was times where I would strategically use this per diem. I'd make sure that I had my stash the night before, and we're going to Wyandotte Lake.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or we're going to, we're going to go to a boxing thing so that you can go start boxing, or,
Sure.
little trips here and there. Now, the biggest trip that we took was to Wyandotte Lake. But yeah, so that's my big, that's like, it makes my teeth, like, it just makes like my blood boil.
It's still rough.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's who I was. You know what I mean? Like, like,
So what were you
How?
what were you stealing? You said checks were a thing?
so yeah, I forged checks.
Okay. So they just like leave their checkbook sitting around?
Yeah, and it was very, like, that just shows you how there's obviously and I would basically double the check. So like, I would just, like, let's say she would write me a check for I don't know, $250, whatever. Then I would just write the exact same check. And I have a steady right hand. So
You mean you write over the check or just write a whole new check? Like
whole new check. And it would
Okay.
and I would cash it the next day or whatever. And it took a while. I was that desperate. I knew that I would get caught again.
Yeah.
Right. You know you're going to get caught for this
It's
stuff.
a matter of time.
It's a
It
matter.
is
It's a
You're
matter.
milking it while you
Yeah.
can, yeah.
So like, but that just shows you, it's like the money is that much more important, or the drugs are that much more important than knowing there's going to be a track record.
Yeah.
Federally, right?
I always found like I would just try to like justify it in my brain somehow, like what I'm going to tell them the story is, and it's going to be the best story. They're going to believe it.
Yeah.
That whole deal.
Yeah, there's
So wait,
things
say that again.
Like I would like as I'm doing this, right? I know it's stupid. I know I'm going to get caught eventually, but I will trick myself into thinking like, oh, I can come up with some kind of story
Yeah.
that'll make this all
Yeah.
check out. And
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's
I think
you just
we've-
hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
We've all been there in a place where we're doing something illegal, and we know we're gonna get caught.
And it's
No, without question. I know I'd been there plenty of times.
Yeah.
Like, just when am I gonna get caught?
What was one of
Not
your
if.
What was one of your big ones?
I mean,
It's a Lego man.
yeah, I was a
Lego.
booster. So
A
I was
booster?
petty thefts. Like, I'd go into stores
Oh,
and
okay,
steal shit,
okay.
and like, yeah,
Okay.
like it's just a matter of when. I would do it every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
And
So
I
like
had
big stuff.
multiple Legos, toys. I had a toy guy who would sell toys at conventions, and he'd buy them off me for like pretty good price.
So
like-
like 50%,
It was a little more than that,
a little more than
which
50.
is good. And also, this was when Giant Eagle had those gift card machines.
Okay.
So like,
Okay.
I would go to Macy's. I'd grab like 4 pairs of $175 slacks, put them under my jeans, and then just
Okay.
walk out the door. And then I'd have somebody else come in and return them without a receipt, get the gift card, and then we'd go take it to that machine. And then boom, $300 or whatever.
Yeah, interesting.
Shit like
The
that.
Lulu
Interesting.
machine, is that what they call it? The
Yeah,
Lulu-
yeah.
I remember those days.
Interesting. Interesting.
That was my like main thing. And then there was the opportunistic crimes that, where you're breaking into a car because you see something through the window, or
Right.
breaking in. I have broken into a house when there was a person in the house,
Really?
knowing there was cash in the basement, and I just had to get to the basement and get the cash and get the fuck out before. And it was across from
How
the
did that?
Grandview
How
police
did
station.
that? How did that make you feel?
I just needed the money. I
Well, no. I
like-
mean, like the anxiety and everything. Were
Oh,
you
yeah,
like?
dude.
Were you like?
The shower.
Were you like
was
hood?
running.
Were you like?
I opened the door. I remember opening the window
Yeah.
to crawl through the window, and I heard the shower running, and I knew that no one was home but this one person. It was the
That's your time.
sister of the guy that I knew,
Okay.
and so I'm like, all right, if she's in the shower, I at least have 60 seconds.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if
Like,
I
I
can just
can-
get down to the basement,
Yep.
get in the filing cabinet, pull the filing, because it was like hidden behind books in a filing cabinet.
Yeah.
Get the cash, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it worked. I did it more than once. And then I got caught.
At
So,
that from those people.
I didn't get caught like in the act, but what happened was the people who owned the house found out, and they blamed it on their kid, who was my friend.
Okay.
And he was like, "Fuck no, that was Lewis."
That was very
Okay.
Lulu move.
That was definitely Lewis who did that. And it was. So. And then I got confronted at my sister's graduation, high school
Oh, boy,
graduation,
that's
by
fun.
the father.
Mm.
Yeah. So that was fun. That was a good one.
It's the shit we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's D-Day look like when they find out? Like now you've been confronted.
And you've got two. You've got two. So you've got.
So yeah. So I think, dude, it's too muddly in my brain now. Like in my recovery brain now, looking back, I don't know what came first or if it all came at once. I think what happened is I knew that I was going to get caught at the one.
The dog.
And maybe I had already stopped working for the other. Yeah, the dog one. And maybe I'd already stopped at the other, and then over time I was charged for both.
Was there part of you that thought these people wouldn't press charges because
Yeah, oh,
of who
absolutely.
you were?
Yeah.
Like, there's a chance that they don't press charges, or maybe they say just pay me back.
So, yes, there was that. But I think there was a time. There was a time when I knew that I was going to get charges pressed. You know, there was that epiphany where it was like that like I could end up in jail, right? Like time to get me a pack of cigarettes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
So there was that time. But for a while, yes. It was just, you know, I'm a good kid from a good neighborhood, and they're smart, and they know that I have a problem, you know, and I rested on those loins instead of like, you know, woe is me. I've got a problem. Don't press charges. I have a problem.
I'm sick.
Right.
Oh my God.
It's not me.
And I think
I didn't mean to. I just drugs made me do it.
right. And I think realistically, that's where many people in well-to-do neighborhoods get it wrong for their kids.
Yep.
I think that they're psychologically, I think that's the big, it's not natural for a parent to want to throw the hammer down on their kid. But I think that's where people in nice neighborhoods get it wrong.
I agree 100%.
I think that either the community has to have some type of community action type deal where they are there's a formula
Educating.
there's a formula as to how to throw the hammer down on this person,
Right.
or there is you just bite the bullet, and whatever they did, they've got to pay for it, right? Whether that's financial or whether that is jail, whether it's even prison in some cases. For me, I was smart enough to know not to break and enter, right?
Yep.
Because that's a big deal. I knew my felony charges, you know. Now, I could have been charged with grand theft, and I think I was. I got a good attorney.
All you have to do is grand theft just over $1,000.
Well,
over, because I know like with shoplifting,
was
$1,000 was the cutoff. So like at anything over 1,000
is
it's
grand
a
theft.
felony. It's a felony charge.
Well, see, I think there's levels to grand theft. So I think, so you think about like the video game Grand Theft Auto, you know, but like Grand Theft Auto, I think is an F1, where if you're stealing somebody's vehicle, it's an F1, but I think maybe.
I don't even know
I don't even know.
It's got to be an F2 or an F3.
It's an
gotta
F.
be up
It's
there.
it's very
Like,
it's
yeah,
up
it's
there.
high.
It's up
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to tangible things, as long as you're not breaking and entering,
That helps a lot.
I think that that helped me a lot.
Nothing aggravated, obviously.
Nothing aggravated. It was all drug related. Literally every single dime that I stole went to drugs. Every single dime.
Right. Which, believe it or not, does help when it comes to the justice system, because if they can look at it and see, okay, his kid's got a problem with drugs, that does help you.
Right. So one thing that I didn't do is I didn't like roll on anyone. You know what I'm saying? So like when I got into, I didn't like give up anyone.
Was there anyone to roll on?
I say, who are you rolling on?
Well, when
Just
you start talking about drugs and drug dealers and where the stuff comes from and where to get out of anything,
Gotcha.
I took my stuff on the chin, right? As well, in my personal street opinion,
I did the same
as
thing.
you should.
Yeah, I agree.
Now there's some people that don't, but basically accept the consequences like a man, right? Get through it.
Yes.
And live your life as best you can and try to make amends. That's kind of where I'm at now.
And you made the paper, right?
I think I made.
I
think I made 10 TV
You might have
news.
made the news, yeah. Because I remember seeing it somewhere.
I think I made the news.
And I was like, what the fuck?
I think I made the news. Well, I'm sure I made the news.
So they press charges on you, both of them,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and then you go to jail immediately.
So I remember getting a Grandview police officer came to my door and took me downtown. I don't know if there's a jail downtown still.
Yeah.
There is.
But took me downtown, and I was there for maybe 3 or 4 days, and my ex-girlfriend at the time had Percocets waiting for me 4 days.
Good
Like,
for her.
Tell us about the jail experience. Tell us about, because I know for me it was like, the first time for me was like culture shock central. Like, holy fuck. This is bad. This is fucked up.
I don't know. I made friends.
Okay, cool.
Pretty easy.
Right on.
I don't know. I know how to share.
Downtown is a lot more chill than the workhouse.
Oh, yeah, big
for
time.
sure.
So I know how to share. I never went to the workhouse, and I heard that was rough.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. But I've been to more than one jail. I've been to 1, 2, 3,
Oh, shit.
3 different jails.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So I don't know. I'm a pretty adaptable human creature.
Chameleon.
Are you going through withdrawal in jail?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I never really. I don't know. I wasn't really. I was too worried about managing personalities in the jail than I was. And when I say managing personalities, understanding who not to mess with, right? In my brain, understanding, how to walk, where to walk, what to do.
Yeah, you got to figure it out.
You figure it out real quick, right? I was too worried about that to really worry about like what I was.
Were you sleeping? Like, did you get? I mean, probably
Restless legs, bad.
Yeah.
Restless legs.
Okay.
I mean, that's what keeps people using, in my opinion, sleep.
And you were still
Yeah.
doing
It's
what,
the
2
sleep.
a day, 3 a day at that point, 30s, or had you?
I was probably doing 2 or 3 at that point.
And that's enough to be sick as fuck.
I think 2 or 3 a day at $50 a piece, plus one or two,
Oh,
plus
man,
one or
it's
plus one or
skyrocketed.
two, plus 1 or 2 for my ex, times
Every
8
day,
years.
Yeah.
God, so you never switched from the pills. You stayed with the oxys
Oh yeah,
the whole time.
I
That is
might have
cool.
mud puddled once in a blue moon, but I didn't really.
If you had to.
if it was a very very rare
Desperate
occurrence
situation.
and I'm lucky that I went to jail before, and this is after. I'm lucky that I went to jail before fentanyl really hit, because I'd be dead. Period. I'd be dead. I'd be 6 feet under. If I wasn't locked up and hit the consequences when I did, I would be dead.
So they indict you. You go do 4 days and you bond out.
Yep, I bond out.
Okay.
Who bonds you out? Mom and dad?
It was whatever that bond is called.
OR bond?
OR bond.
What the fuck, bro? Are you kidding me?
I know.
Yeah.
Everybody we come on is like, yeah, we got an OR, and fucking we never got an OR for
Never.
anything
Never,
ever.
ever.
And you had some big boy shit.
I think, but I also had a big boy lawyer.
Yeah,
Oh well,
that helps.
You know.
Who paid for the lawyer? Parents?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Blessed. Grateful. I didn't have.
Is it the attorney that I'm thinking of?
It may be the attorney that you might be maybe thinking of.
Okay.
Somewhat.
So,
If he's a big boy attorney, then yeah. So you were in good hands.
I was in someone's hands.
Yeah.
What comes with it? Yeah, what happens?
So I got OR bonded. I did a Percocet right when I got out.
Yep.
In the car? Was it like in the parking
And then
lot thing?
and then I started kind of running. When I say running, I mean kind of the legal dance with the attorney we may or may not be thinking of, who is an attorney, maybe.
Allegedly.
But yeah, so I started running once that was I guess once that was closed up enough to where it was restitution, drug tests here and there or whatever.
Did you get probation?
I think probation. But dude, this is so long ago. This is my first like occurrence with the
set of crimes.
So at this point, I think all I had to do is pay restitution. I went to treatment. I remember I went to mental health I think I went to Harding.
Okay.
I don't think. I went to Harding Hospital. At Harding, or Talbot, or one of those.
Yeah.
One of the crazy people places. Because I was one of them, just about drugs. And I was diverted to a place called Cardinal Recovery in Gallipolis, Ohio, which is very close to the farm that I was talking about earlier with you.
Yeah.
So there was comfort knowing that I was close to what felt like home.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there and went through recovery and stayed clean for quite some time. Stayed clean for maybe a year. And I think, just to kind of time frame it, so we got high school, graduate, go to Arizona State, start doing party drugs, come home, start doing downers, opiates. This would have been 2011, 2012. Live that life of different jobs and stealing from people. Get my consequences. I think that was for about 4 or maybe 5 years that I was doing those things. I don't know. I don't know. But I had all different kinds of jobs and all different, just living my life trying to use as much as I could. So I want to say 2015 or 16, and somewhere in there I went to California for 6 months.
For treatment?
No.
Just to get away.
Just to
geographical
leave.
cure type deal?
Yeah, whatever. And twice, actually, I went to California for months. But let's not talk about that. That's gonna blur the lines of that was just kind of a hiatus. And so I'd say 2016 or 17 was when it was life or death, and it was time to really start looking at how I'm going to survive this thing, without going to prison for a long time, without ending up in a loony bin, one flew under the cuckoo's nest type shit, or
die.
Well, die. And we're getting there. So I got very close to dying, on a totally separate occasion, but we'll get there. So I went to Gallipolis and stayed clean for a year and a half.
How was your life during that time?
Clean?
Yeah, that year and a half.
It was interesting. I don't think I wanted to be clean. I think that I wanted to stay out of prison. At this point in my life, I want to be clean. Because I have goals, right? And I like helping other people at this point.
You want to live. You want to fucking live.
Well, and there's no defense mechanism at this point. I've got all of my defenses and my boundaries in place, right? So I don't need to be on edge about anything, because I'm crossing my T's and dotting my I's.
Yep.
And I'm continuing to pay restitution, but we'll get to that at the end, right?
Okay.
So we're in Gallipolis, Cardinal Recovery. There was a guy who I butted heads with quite often about religion, and because I was raised by geoscientists, I was raised by Earth people. I was never raised by anyone, or I was never really presented with this idea of God or Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha or whatever.
Exposure, really.
No exposure to any God of my understanding, whether it's large groups of people religion or my own version of it or whatever, right? So he and I butted heads a lot. I drank while I was there, and I got caught, but I didn't get thrown under the bus. So he kind of saved my butt. He could have, I think, reported it, but it was I had some Svedka or something, and it was like one of those little bottles of Svedka, and I grabbed it on a trip to, I think I took it from my parents. They had a little bottle of it and it was when I was given a pass.
Yeah, like
right?
a home pass.
Yeah. So that year, I was just kind of in limbo. I was just kind of just learning about recovery, not really totally submitting to it, but learning about it. And it was a good year. I ended up getting a job. I went into transitional living after that first bit. I ended up getting a job for a John Deere dealer. So, and I lied to get the job. So I didn't, well, I should say I omitted. I didn't lie.
Okay.
I just didn't tell them the whole truth. Which a lot of drug addicts who have a history, you're not going to tell them the entire truth.
Don't have a choice
off the rip, because you're not going to get the job.
Yeah.
So I went in there and I asked for a job application, and he gave me a chance to basically be this chainsaw salesman, where I was selling steel chainsaws.
Interesting.
STIHL steel.
Yeah. Okay.
Talking a lot about
the good shit.
Yeah, the steel and the good shit.
Yeah.
Right? And Echo chainsaws. So, and that's basically weed eaters, chainsaws, all that stuff. And I ended up getting commission eventually. Well, the goal was to get commission, which you get paid a decent amount of money, and I can start paying restitution, and I can start chipping away at some of the people that I'd harmed earlier in my addiction. And I ended up getting promoted to an actual salesman of John Deere tractors, which is a big deal. You can make a stupid amount of money doing it.
They're expensive. Shit.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
And in 2 years, I ended up becoming, I think I was the second, if I remember right, I think I was number 2 in the company of 40-some salesmen.
So your life got better.
My life
in that time.
I was making close to $100,000 a year.
Wow.
And I wasn't spending it on restitution. So I started drinking again. It was legal. It wasn't part of my probation. I could still drink. But I started drinking. And that was the start of the tumble back down. So I got a car. I was still staying away from Columbus, knowing that I didn't want to see people from Columbus who knew I was on the news. I was embarrassed. So I stayed down south, and I've got this awesome opportunity. I'm making new friends, basically starting a whole new life where only the people that I strategically wanted in it, I could surgically place them in it.
Sure.
Right? Still selfish motive. Still, I'm not open.
It's still about you. It's all about you.
It's all about me, and I'm not being open. Right? So, so basically, for 2 years, I was making close to $80 or $100,000 a year, which is enough. If I would have managed the money right, it would have been enough to probably clear my entire thing
and have some left over.
But I was too worried about getting laid. I was too worried about. I was just too worried about starting that new life where I could strategically and selfishly place people around me so that I'm the center of things instead of others who are more important than me. That I could help be the center, right? So yeah, 2 years, really good money, and I learned so much. I learned more about the world and about farming and about just agriculture in general. It was an amazing experience. It really was. But I think after I drank for about 6 months and had a couple benders where I was going to bars and like getting real schlitzed, that I ran into somebody who had something white that I sniffed up my nose. And then that led to, one thing led to another, where I met another guy and met another guy and met another guy. And now I can get 30s, right? And I'm making enough money to where I can pretty much support myself with it. Okay. So this is where the thieving starts again. $80,000 wasn't enough once I started using 30s again. Well, it didn't even touch it.
It's wild.
Well, I shouldn't say it didn't touch it. It definitely helped.
Right.
That commission check, which was once a month, I was getting loaded. $3,000 check cleared after taxes is.
Yeah, you're in good shape.
I'm in good shape. I'm gonna be good for a couple weeks.
Fuck, that's 8 years ago. I mean, that's even more money than it is today.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not 8 years ago. Well,
2017, 2018.
Time flies, doesn't it?
It does.
2018. So it would have been 2019, 2020.
Okay.
Recovery, 2017, 2018.
Okay.
Job and whatever happened in between, I don't know. So yeah. I don't even know where I left off. You might need to cut that part out too.
You just picked up the 30s. You just
started picking up 30s, right? And met a guy. Started rolling around with people that probably shouldn't have been, and so I ended up. I had one dealer, one dude, and it was every day. I had a company truck, so I could literally go say that I was going to look at a trade, like going to look at a big Massey Ferguson tractor, so that I could go pick up, And I had pictures from looking at one from the week before. It'd be like, hey, if he asked, here you go, boss. Yeah, I had my, it was
CYA. Cover your ass.
I was good. Well, I had all kinds that cover my ass, like in every sense of the word, all kinds of it. So yeah, once that started, it took about a year before I started manipulating John Deere's system. Now, this is where I was smart. So this is, you thought that I was smart for being an opportunist, when a contractor shows up to, so this is actual real intelligence. This is not like, and now I'm saying this with all the humility in the world, right? I was smart when I did this as far as getting money for drugs. There was a system, it's called Equip, and that's a universal system. It's not just for John Deere. It's a universal system that basically is for buying and selling retail. So I'm sure it's used in places kind of like Macy's or kind of like anything like that. So anything that's retail, Marshalls, you know what I mean? So I learned the ins and outs of Equip more than a bunch of farmers knew. I'm come from Grandview Heights High School, and I've learned all about computers, Apple computers, and, anything with an Intel processor, really.
Okay.
And so I knew more than my bosses and my boss's bosses and my boss's bosses knew about this system. And I made sure to know more about it than they did. Now, I got sloppy. That's what got me caught at this place. And I'm not going to drop the name of the company, but we'll just say that it was a John Deere. It is a John Deere dealer. So basically, I would write off things. So like, let's say I sell a $25,000 tractor, right? I'm getting 1% of that, which is $250. my boss is going to get 2% of that. His boss's boss is going to get 3% of that. And that's just shit rolls downhill to the peon salesman, right? Mm-hmm. And I was kind of jaded because I knew I was doing way more work than all of them. And so I'm going to find a way to use their margins against them. Because there's a ton of margin on now mostly Chinese made stuff, which is mostly. I'm not calling John Deere a Chinese made company. Because it's not. It's an American company, but they use a lot of parts and stuff from China, and that's a fact. But, and I'm sure you could go into the Donald Trump stuff and John Deere and all that stuff, and if you typed it into Google, you could probably find all kinds of stuff about what Donald Trump doesn't like John Deere.
Interesting.
They're trying to move manufacturing to Mexico. There's all kinds of stuff. But I could talk shit about John Deere all day long.
And
you know your shit.
Skimming off of them. How's that work?
This is basically how I did it. So 1% of whatever I sold is what I would get on my commission check. Now, if a customer came in and gave me, let's say the customer came in and let's say there's a trade and the margin's like 50% or something. Or let's say that the margins on a big tractor is, I need to reach 6% and my margin is at 13% or something. And you're talking $50,000. What's 7% of $50,000? That's what I can play with.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would write off certain things for that tractor, attachments, all kinds of odds and ends. And I would, instead of giving it to the customer, I found ways to, within the company, put those things in my pocket via cash somehow. So that was where the salesman, person to person, this is where reality comes in with the customer, where it would be, here's this attachment for $1,000, right? But you give me $400 cash. If you want to pay our company cash, then you can you can have the attachment. I've already written it off, right? So it's already in the price that they've already paid for. They've already paid for this thing, and they're going to give me $400, or they're going to pay for it again.
Right.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I would smudge them, right?
Okay.
They've already committed to the tractor, right? They've already committed to it, and now it's, well, you can get this attachment, which will boost my margins, make my bosses super happy if they don't pay cash. But if they do pay cash, they're saving $600 and it goes in my pocket.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So pretty slick.
Yeah.
Like really slick. And I did that with all kinds of stuff within the store that had the brand on it. So like, all kinds of stuff, safes, parts, keys, wheel weights, just there's so many different things and parts and part numbers that you can only imagine, clothing. I mean, it's such a huge company that, and not the company I worked for, the company that I was representing,
right.
Being a salesman for. And I just used the company I was working for as a means to get more money for drugs. And I was just really smart about it. So in reality, I don't know how much over the course of a year and a half that I took, but it was quite a bit. Now, where I got saved, okay, by all of this, I probably could have had the hammer thrown down on me for maybe another $50,000 at least. At least I'm up there.
Yeah.
I'm up there. Lots of money, right?
Trouble.
Lots of tractors, lots of money. I'm in a lot of trouble. But where I could have gotten the hammer thrown down on me big, that's where I could have. There was one deal that I made. It was about a safe, a John Deere safe. It was like a $2,000 safe. I wrote it off on a tractor. And so after writing it off, guy pays me $1,000 cash for it. somehow he called my boss or knew my boss, or maybe my bosses knew that I was being a slippery SOB and they set something up with some outside guy or whatever. They may, you know, I'm sure they did that at some point. More than once, probably. So he gave me cash for it. And I was charged from my company. Maybe I was criminally charged. I knew like that I wanted to get ahead of it, so I threw a fit in front of my boss and was like, "Yeah, fuck this place," you know, like you're all a bunch of, you know, sleazeball salesmen, you know. And it's like, yeah, like, dude, you're a thief, you know.
Right.
Like they're like,
you got caught.
Do whatever you need to
You
do.
got caught, yeah.
Right. So, yeah, like flipping the desk and, you know, like slamming
Damn.
doors and well, I didn't flip the desk, but
Oh,
I
okay.
slammed drawers and like took my shit. Right. It's probably a really bad act.
What'd they charge you with?
They charged me with, I think it was just theft. It was just theft.
Yeah.
But it was $1,500. Now here's the real trick, is that like we were talking about like NDAs and stuff earlier, and so like the real trick is that with my invoices and the forms that I was using, right, only the people that could, if I got this right legally, only the people that could charge me with a crime would be my company, because I represented that company, right? So even if I was taking, let's say, $400 cash from a person or whatever, right, I'm still within the bounds of that company.
Right.
So whatever exchange of money, that money is actually my company's.
Right.
It's not theirs at that point or mine. It's my company's.
So you couldn't get banged with like a bunch of different...
At this point, once I put that into the company desk and then take it back out later, I'm stealing from the company desk, right? I'm not stealing from the person. I'm stealing from the company and the form that we signed in order to.
Right.
So there's the legal kind of
loophole type
loophole. I'm sure there's some gray area in it, but at this point, it's like what I'm getting at, it would be double jeopardy. So I got saved by $1,500. One charge of $1,500 saved my ass.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Because now I only owe $1,500 of restitution instead of $50,000.
Yeah.
Or more. So I got covered quite a bit. I got covered big time by their stupidity. Let's be real. So they would have, if they would have been patient, instead of saying he stole from us,
If they had built a case,
it would have been he stole from us. What else did he steal from us?
Yeah, let's wait.
Let's
let
take a
them
look.
Keep doing it.
Let's take a look instead of just calling the police.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what they did. They were like, he stole from us a safe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they could have banged your ass.
They could have got me big time.
hard.
Yeah.
So psychologically, they were a little hasty.
I bet.
Too quick.
And I kind of knew that they would be, because shoplifters, they did the same thing. You know, somebody who's slippery in there. Now, one thing that I stayed away from always, they sold guns. So one thing, if you really want to start getting crazy legal with it, I made sure not to write off guns. So I made sure to separate what I was selling and what another department in our store was selling. So now there would be parts to guns that I could potentially write off, but never a firearm.
Okay.
Right? So I could sell a scope, but I couldn't sell a firearm.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And my boss knew that I was a felon at this point. He didn't know how bad I was honest with him about being a felon. And I think he looked into my background a little bit, but he didn't look very hard because I was so good at selling John Deere tractors.
Right. Yeah.
At this point, it's like he's bringing us in so much money.
Yeah.
Why would we care?
You're a good salesman. That's all they give a fuck about.
And still, $50,000 is a drop in the bucket compared to the million. I'd say over 2 years, I probably made him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Probably made him
millions. Yeah.
a couple. I made him over $1 million.
Yeah.
I'd say in profit, in actual profit. I'm not
Yeah,
talking
it's
like
crazy with commission how that all works. How much money the company gets versus the salesman.
well, and if you want to accrue all of that with the relationships that I built, people who still go in there from all around Ohio, I've continuing to make them money.
Right.
As we sit here, so
What comes of the theft charge?
I'm paying restitution on it. I got
Just-
charged. I went to Gallipolis jail for 3 days, and yeah, and I
So
ended up
felony theft?
felony
Yeah,
theft
because it was
Yeah.
over $1,000.
Yep.
Yep.
So this is where things get crazy. Okay. So there's that story. There's the peak of my thievery
Okay.
is for this company. John Deere stuff is, so that's done. I went into jail for 3 days. Worst jail ever. First off, Gallipolis County
Really?
Jail. They just redid it because of how bad it was. When I say it was bad, it was
What
very
made it
bad.
so
Old and
bad?
decrepit, yeah.
It was all open cells. So it was there. You didn't have your own. It was maybe each cell had a bed in it, and it was maybe 2 by, well, maybe not 2, maybe the 4 by 8
Damn.
was
So
as big as the cells were.
it's like a prison cell,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No. 4 by 8. 4 by 8
So
is
it's like
like
a bed and a walkway.
it's a bed.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
bed
bed
and a
and-
walkway.
yeah.
There's nothing else in there. All open face.
Oh, no toilet?
No toilet.
Okay.
And then you'd have to go to someone else's cell that had the toilet
Oh,
to use the
God.
toilet.
That
Oh.
would suck to be that
Yeah,
guy.
dude.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was really bad. Like really, really bad. But 3 or whatever days of that. So where I'll segue to where I was before Gallipolis. There was a bunch of guys that I was hanging out with, guys and girls that I was hanging out with, partying with. And when there was one night, I think this might have been, I don't know if it was before or after the Gallipolis stuff. But I went to this guy's house. I was really down and out. I think it was after the Gallipolis stuff, if I remember right. So I was really down and out. Was staying in his trailer with him. He had a dog. And he basically, he drugged me. So,
Really?
and I don't know what happened. So I know that's super duper scary, right? So like, you start talking about where my brain goes, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, I could have been sexually abused. I could have been, but I don't think I was. But I think that he may have been trying to kill me. Yeah. So,
Why do you think
I
that?
think jealousy, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I think so, because I was young. He's maybe 50s,
So he's
60.
Just a lunatic?
Well, and I had slept with this girl. He never told me about any of this, but I had slept with some girl, and I think I mentioned it, and I didn't know that he had a thing for her or something. But he was he was unstable, to say the least. To say the least. So I remember driving with him in his truck. Got a thing of Crown Apple. And Bush Light. And I remember going to, I remember getting really, really drunk. Really, really drunk, right? Go to a party. But this is a backwoods, Southern Ohio woods party.
Okay.
Right? This isn't a
House party.
This isn't a house college party. This is big boy party. This is like, you're talking
Bonfire.
motorcycle guys that
Just
I don't
crush booze.
right, yeah, like I don't know affiliation and stuff like that,
Oh,
but
okay.
there's like affiliation people there,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Big boy party stuff. And I remember sitting by this fire, drunk, super duper drunk, like on the ground, sitting by this fire. And I remember taking some trash. So I remember taking some trash from like the ground or something and throwing it in the fire where there was other trash. Right?
Okay.
And I wasn't allowed to do that. So I got hit over the head with a piece of firewood. Very hard.
By
that guy. By the guy who I
Yeah.
think was trying to
Yeah.
kill me, right? So we had smoked meth. We had done, drank and smoked meth. That's it. And this is how I know that he drugged me. So I remember running after that. So I didn't get knocked out by this blow, but I got hit really hard. And I got stunned. And I remember running from this party. Ran through the woods. As far as I remember, I ran through the woods for a long time. And I don't know what got into me or why, but I don't remember all the details, but I remember coming up on a substation, a AEP substation. And I climbed the fence of this substation for whatever reason. And I started touching stuff in this substation, inside the walls of a AEP electrical substation for a town. And something arced on me. So if you look at my hand.
Oh. Yeah, show the camera.
So
you
you can kind of
You
see it
got
on my arm
zapped
too.
by,
Damn.
Right?
I thought that was a burn.
Well, it is a burn.
yeah.
I mean, I guess technically.
It is.
Electrical burn.
It is 100% a burn. It's just from electricity.
Jesus.
So the burn goes from my fingertips all the way. My hand got it the worst, but goes from my fingertips all the way up the right-hand side of my body, across my chest, up into my ear.
Damn.
Okay. So I woke up in the hospital, where I've had second and third degree burns. Should have died from the electricity. It's 440. Well,
Golly.
yes, 440. So you're talking,
Well, your washer and dryer, what, 220, right?
your washer and dryer is
That'll kill
220.
you.
I think what I touched was 440, but in there's 880.
Fuck.
So in there's 880. And I don't know if the 880 arced on me or if the 440 did, but I'm not an electrician. Or I don't even think electricians deal with that type of wattage or power.
Yeah, you're also wasted and
I'm wasted, right? And running through the woods and just got hit over the head with a basically a firewood brick. And
Jesus.
yeah, so yeah, I woke up in the hospital. They told me that I had a stupid amount of Xanax in me. Never did Xanax. I had hated the drug. So that guy who hit me over the head with the firewood put Xanax in the Crown Apple or the beer that he gave me or whatever, but he put a ton of it in there, and he was notorious for taking a lot of Xanax. So I spoke to another friend of mine who I'm still friends with. Now, not close friends, but I'm still friends with him. And I spoke to him, and he basically said, yeah, he definitely drugged you. You're not the first person he's done that to. He's like, I told you to stay away from him, you dumbass.
Wow.
He literally looked at me straight in the eyes like I am you right now and was like, I told you shouldn't have fucking done that, and you did anyway, and you ended up in the fucking hospital. Like,
Yeah. I
So-
mean, holy shit.
yeah. So he so yeah, basically that's where that led.
I mean, how are you feeling at this point? Like, I mean, you're having a rough run here.
Well, the Xanax, when it wore off, my brain instantly went to, okay, did I get raped? Instantly, my brain was like, did I get raped by some crazy backwoods biker gang? Did I get raped? Right. because that's instantly, it's just like I just felt defiled, right? Like I felt like I was, like all of my security had been ripped away.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, karma, right? You think about karma in general and the idea of it. I had ripped the security away from 2 families in my active addiction. So at the time I was still thinking selfishly, like, you know, my whole existence is, basically I'm a naked SOB that might've just been raped, got hit over the head with a piece of firewood, ran through the woods, jumped into a substation, got an arc flash on me and should have died. And I'm in the hospital for 45 days at this point.
Golly.
Whoa.
Yeah.
45
and
days.
I had debreeding, which basically means they scrub your skin every day. They put you in it was rough. So yeah, but to the karma thing, that's kind of where my mind, once I got into recovery, it's like, well, my security was ripped from me, and I ripped my security away from other people. And, you know, it's kind of God's way of telling me, you know,
you paid
that, you know, this is what happens when you rip security away from people, you know? So, but that's neither here nor there at this point. I'm in the hospital for 45 days, almost died. And I learned my lesson, you know, and I have a 1-year-old at this point.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So I had he's now 4, but at this point he's going on 5. He was only a few months old. He was between 0 and 1 years old. He had been born not too long ago. And, so yeah. And between having a kid out of wedlock, I know that's having a kid with baby mama, you know, whatever you want to call it. And getting burnt, picking up more charges, already having charges from Franklin County. It was basically, that's when I had that coming to God moment where it was, what's interesting is I wasn't frantic or in a panic mode when I had my coming to God, it's time to heal moment. And it wasn't because I got burnt, and it wasn't even because of my son. It was because I literally reached that point. Now, those might have been variables, but I reached that point where I was just like, I just don't want to die. You know, like, life is worth not dying, you know? And we have friends that have taken their lives.
Yeah.
Outside of drugs.
Yep.
I'm consciously taking their lives.
Yep.
And, so I made that realization, that epiphany moment, that it was life is better than death. And that was my coming to God moment, where life is better than death. And I believe that. And once I reached that pinnacle or that fulcrum, whatever you want to call it, where, that religious moment, epiphany, there's so many different words you could explain for it, right? Coming to light, whatever you want to call it.
Spiritual awakening. Yeah.
All of it. Once that fulcrum switched, then it was, okay, now I need to start taking care of myself. However I do that, I need to start paying, not only financially, but spiritually for the things that I've done to people. I obviously need to get into some type of program, AA, meditative,
some
odd
kind of
program, some type of whatever. Now I got into Narcotics Anonymous. That's the program that I still work today. It's I go through the step working guide and everything. But yeah, so that's that was my coming to God. It wasn't the trauma. It was life is better than death.
Yeah, you came close.
And it took 29 years for me to make that realization. The goods, the bads, the uglies, the beautifuls, the fats, the skinnies, the blacks, the whites, right? It doesn't matter. It's all good. And it took me 29 years to realize that it's all good, you know? But I didn't realize that before. So some of the trauma might have attributed to me getting there, but I think mostly it was because I chose to live.
Or you were given the opportunity, because we hear near-death stories of overdoses,
Yeah.
specifically. But you, like, really should have died.
I should have died. Yeah. I
Like,
should have died.
You really should have
Something intervened in
Yes.
the way that I see it. Something intervened. And I don't know what that thing was, why, or, you know, whether I've chosen, you know, which is a super grandiose ass thing to say, but I felt like there was something more. If I survived, you know, that there's something more to it.
There's
you
a
know?
reason.
There's something more to it. Now, from there, it's a kind of we could do another podcast on the second half of this in my
Recovery, yeah.
recovery part, right? But those are my war stories, you know. And as far as the solution, I know unfortunately people are more drawn to the war stories, especially parents and people who are on the outside and people who are watching a podcast in general. People who are watching media, they want to see the horrific things. They want to hear about the horrific shit. They want to hear about somebody almost dying. They don't want to hear about somebody grinding out step work like a fucking maniac.
Right.
You know, because there's no value there.
I mean, yeah, it's just not exciting.
Yeah, it's not exciting.
We've
Not
battled.
good TV.
But
Yeah,
it's
we've
not
battled
good
that,
TV.
sadly.
Yeah, and you do. And I assume you work program, right?
Yeah.
And whether it has a designation or not doesn't matter. But I know you work a program, and there's a conundrum when you're running a podcast and you're trying to get viewers and you're trying to get people to watch. You know, people want to hear about the hurt of the world, unfortunately. And that goes for any social media.
You're exactly right.
It goes for right at you, Mark Zuckerberg, right? It's like
Politics,
that's what they make money off of.
Anything.
Well, the
They make
news-
money
the
off of
news,
people's
like,
pain.
You don't see good stuff on the news.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
They-
Like, even the local news.
daily news is just-
yeah.
They
shit.
make money off of people's pain, unfortunately. I'm not saying those people don't want to help people, because I'm sure they do. But the money is usually where there's negativity, unfortunately. Where there's positivity, which is in recovery, step work, getting sponsorship, helping just
others.
helping another person
Yep.
in general. There's very little money in that. It's self-sacrificing in a good way.
I mean, they talk about the most effective defense against the next drink is helping another alcoholic.
Yeah.
That is the most
Yeah.
effective defense.
Yep. And spiritually, it's what keeps us whole, in my opinion. It's what keeps us whole, is helping another person. Now, what's cool about a podcast, in your guys' case, is that my story could potentially help people that are viewing your guys' podcast,
Would be shocked.
right?
Yeah.
And if my story can hit someone's heartstrings for them to go get enter into treatment themselves, or to start asking questions about NA, even if it's just that simple, even if they're still
even
picking
if you're
up,
planting a seed.
even if they are just, picking up a book or whatever, it's worth it. But it's the unfortunate facts
Well, tell us about what recovery's done for you, and how it's changed the way you think, obviously, but also your life.
So it's become something where I have to fight. Well, I shouldn't say fight, but I try to combat that thing in my brain, and in some other cases, setting boundaries with other people about recovery being this game. I feel like some people can make recovery into this type of game where it's like, I've got more clean time, or I've got this, or I've got, this is how I trick my brain into not using, and it's this psychological game, and it's just simply not a game. It's go help a person or get the fuck out of my life.
I like that.
It's pretty much that simple for me. And that's pretty brash, because for the newcomer, there's some people, but I know with going on, 3.5 years now, that I know, which isn't a lot of time in the scheme of things. It's not a lot of time, and I acknowledge that, right? But I was such a bad drug addict, that that I have to be very, very hard laced and disciplined in everything that I do. But when it comes to the newcomer, I understand where their brain is at. So I can be a little bit more patient with somebody who's got a year or less. Because I used to be that person that had a year or less, you know? But there are people who have more time than me. And this is in Portsmouth, which is a very huge recovery town. There's a book, Dreamland, by Sam Quinones. It's all about Portsmouth and the bad doctors and all this shit.
Great book.
It is a good book.
Great book.
I've never read it all the way through, but it's famous in Portsmouth.
Yes. It's famous, I think, in general.
In general, yeah. So yeah, in Portsmouth, it's become this recovery game, and I think it has a lot to do with that book. And I'm getting sick of it because it's less about helping people and it's more about who can have that front as if they're helping more people.
They're clicking up,
and I don't want to be drug into that mess by just being a part of it. So what I've done, unfortunately, is isolated a little bit unhealthily, which is why this podcast is wonderful for me, because I'm, 2 hours away and I get to see people that I used to golf with in high school, friends, and I can get back in touch with people who I used to use with, who are now clean, who I used to use with, who are now starting to give Narcotics Anonymous or AA or just recovery in general, getting clean, in some cases sober. In general, I know that's a poo-poo thing in NA, but whatever. But it's cool to see, and its tentacles spread further than what people realize. And I think that's beautiful. So,
damn, dude, wow, you have a wild story, and you can help a lot of people with it. Like, seriously, it's and we always talk about, we're not unique, right? Like, I'm not different than you, you're not different than me, I'm not different than Aaron, he's not different than me. We all have the same disease, but you have the ability to help people with that shit you just shared and how you got better. What'd you have to do? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's really cool, and you can save lives, actually.
Well, thank you. I think for people with time at this point, my big advice would be to squash ego as best you can. And I know in this podcast I'm supposed to share my war story and stuff like that, so it's kind of hard when you're telling your story, for there not to be ego within it. But at this point, when I'm actually attending a meeting, or if I'm really talking to someone who's in recovery on a real life note, I try to listen more than I speak. Because if I'm listening more than I'm speaking, it means that I actually give a shit. It doesn't mean that I'm trying to influence, like somebody on social media.
Right.
I'm not trying to sway a person this way or that way, but I am trying to learn about a person, and if there's a connection that's strong enough, then it can become this game of Pong, where it's, how do we help another person? How do we help each other? How do we get to this place where, you can eventually scale out and really help a very large amount of people.
Yeah.
All money aside, just brains. That's it. Because you can't put a value on somebody's brain.
That's what recovery is about. Mm-hmm. That's the whole fucking point.
Yep.
It makes me so happy to hear you say that. Like, because I know that you were around some guys that knew what the fuck they were. I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell. You're around guys that knew what they were doing. Like, when you got sober. Like, it's obvious. You have wisdom. You listened. It's clear. So, thanks for driving out here
thanks for the 2-hour trip, man.
and taking the time to share, man, because it's a lot to recall all that in some cases.
It's more about the solution than it is about the war story. I'll
And the
reiterate that.
problem. Yep.
Yeah, but the
Absolutely.
war story sells books.
And war stories are cool, but a hope shop, bud. That's
Yeah.
a hope shop.
No,
is
seriously.
life-changing, brother.
I mean, the fact that you're sitting here after fuck the drugs, the electricity thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
fuck all the drugs, all the other, like, you're alive.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you get to share that. So thank you. Seriously.
Thank you. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate you. Lewis.
You got it, brother.
You guys gonna
Friends
go
till the end, brother.
Hit the back nine
Got it.
after this.
Yeah, we're going to have to
podcast.
go out and we're going to have to call.
I hit the ball
We're
a
gonna
little
have to
further
call.
than I used to.
We're going to have to call old high school golf coach and we'll go hit some.
I've seen him.
Go
I've
hit
seen
some
him.
balls. Have you seen him? Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I speak at the high school and I'll pop
Dude.
in occasionally
Cool.
and see Mr. Richards and
Well,
Shout
as you
out
could
Mr.
tell
Richards.
throughout this,
Shout out Mr.
I
Richards.
don't like shouting out any names.
that's
but,
okay. I'll shut him out.
Okay. Well.
Thanks, buddy.